Oh, yeah. Good afternoon and welcome to Monday on Bad Dog Comedy TV, live on YouTube and Ayaka's Kitchen. Now, please give it up for your warm-up act, a toast.
Hello! Hi, everybody! How are you doing? Okay, another joke today. It goes like this. Knock, knock. Who's there? Shrimp. Shrimp who? A big shrimp. A big shrimp who? A lobster. Ha ha ha, lobster is a big shrimp. Is that correct? Is that correct? Is that correct? Like when lobster eat too many things, they become... Oh wait, when shrimp eats too many things, they become lobster, right? Is that correct? That's all I know about lobster. It's a shrimp, a big shrimp. Mama shrimp. Mama shrimp. Hi, everybody. Hi, was Toast doing okay, or was he very wrong? I don't know. I'll find out later. Hi, I'm Ayaka. Well, it wasn't even a joke. It was like a lack of knowledge on my end. I mean, Toast and we don't know much about lobster. But we're going to learn a lot about it today. Hi. Hi. Thank you for watching Ayaka's Kitchen again and again and again. I'm having lots of fun. I hope you're having fun too. If you're having lots of fun, here is the donation link for Bad Dog Comedy TV. Bad Dog is a great place to be and great place to be around and great place to talk about and you know, lots of things happening, lots of shows happening. So please consider donating so we can keep those many shows, keep showing you those shows. And don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, I'm becoming like a YouTuber. Don't forget to subscribe, Bad Dog Comedy TV. Yeah, it's a YouTuber quote. Awesome. So yes, today's episode, I'm bringing my another like amazing friend. Yeah, this person, it's so amazing. I'm just so happy to see her today and ask her all the questions that I have about lobsters, because I really don't know much about lobster. So now you can see this episode is gonna be about lobster. But yeah, let's invite her over. So here, Ashley Comeau.
Hi,
How are you doing?
Good. I'm so happy to be here in your kitchen.
You know, yeah, it's my kitchen, your kitchen, Mikasa, Sukasa, like, you know, it's a beautiful thing. But your kitchen is actually beautiful. What is this? It's like super nice blue.
This is a kitchen with blue paint. Connor and I painted it blue after we did improv in Greece and fell in love with that kind of Santorini blue. So we can't travel for a while, so let's paint the kitchen blue.
It's beautiful. And are they lemons or potatoes? I can tell, like right there.
These are lemons.
It's
I
huge.
think,
They're huge.
I grew up in the suburbs, and every white lady of a certain age had a giant bowl of lemons. So I'm fitting into what I am.
No, that's beautiful. I love lemons so much, and like I just like suck on it. And
Do you?
I do. I love lemons. And then in Europe, I've been to Europe a few times. That like they have like beautiful lemon trees, and European lemons are like so sweet. And then I bet like in Greece that you have been to Greece, probably lemons tasting a little bit sweeter, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes even a little bit smaller. Oh, so good, so good.
Yeah, smaller, sweeter. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, that blue and yellow look like perfect match. So good.
I love a loud kitchen.
Beautiful.
This is where all the magic happens. So it's kind of my crazy apothecary.
Beautiful. Like you are a chef. I heard you cook a lot and you have traveled a lot. So I'm sure you know so many different kinds of cuisines, and then like you know how to cook so many different kinds of dishes. But today you are going to introduce me a dish from your actual like your culture. So tell me, actually before food, let's talk about who you are. So tell me about your background.
Okay, so my background, my family has been in Canada for probably, or no, not probably, from like 5 to 7 generations of settlers is what my family is. And we come from England and Scotland and Ireland and Germany, and also from France. And when the French people came over in my family, they landed in Nova Scotia. So my dad's side, the Comeau name, is actually Acadian. And that's the heritage that we're going to be talking about today, is the Acadian side of my settler background.
Mm-hmm. So when you first told me the word Acadian, I didn't even hear it properly. Then I was like, "What's Acadian? What?" Like, I don't even know. So Acadian is like French settlers in North America.
Essentially, yes. That is correct. And in Nova Scotia, which is, if you look at the name Nova Scotia, it's like New Scotland. Sometimes you'll get Scottish settlers in there who are Acadian as well. And rumor has it that when fleeing the English, some Scottish people pretended to be French to come over to flee the English. So my background is actually a lot more Scottish than French. And I found out with all that ancestry testing and that whatnot. And Acadian, if you know the word in the South, Cajun, it's the same word because there was a lot of infighting with the Acadians when the English was there within the French communities and probably the Scottish as well. So a lot of them fled like Maine, kind of Boston area, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and went south to Louisiana. And the term Cajun, if you like slur out Acadian, Cajun, it's the same people, just said differently.
Wow, that's what like this much history textbook in like this 1 minute that I've read.
I'm a huge nerd, so get ready, Ayaka.
I love it. That's so interesting. So Scottish people pretended to be French people. Why is that? Why?
They're being persecuted by the English, as probably every culture on the planet could say at one point. I love my English heritage as well, but you know, come on. So yeah, they in a panic. I don't know much about that historical event. I don't even know if they could speak French, but they got on the boat to go to New France and settled in Acadia and New France.
So English people didn't like Scottish people, so Scottish people pretended we are French people, and English people like, okay, French people cool, let's go together. Like
French people not cool, but they're leaving, so it doesn't matter. That was kind of the hit there. Yeah, they're like, French people, no thank you, but you're going to the New World, so it is what it is.
Wow. This is so much of like history lesson already that I don't. I was in west coast of Canada when I first moved, so I learned a little bit about that side. But like East Coast is like so like new to me. Thank you for
Oh,
this
awesome,
lesson.
awesome. No problem. Also, these are gross generalizations. Like, I'm just gonna click my AirPods here for a second. Yes, so these are just the random tidbits I know or things that were in my family. This isn't necessarily like the East Coast experience. But yeah, lots of fighting in Canada, probably forever. Oh God. But you know what? I'm sorry, my love, I can't hear you. I think that's okay. You got bread on your head. You look fabulous. Got a great kitchen.
Check, 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 check.
Yeah, I
Can
can hear you now.
And I'm so sorry, Sean. I'm sure Sean's freaking out backstage. And I'm so sorry, everybody. I don't know what's happening with my computer today, but now you can hear me. Okay, let me know if that happens again. But
Sure.
fighting, wars, anything that happens anywhere in the world, especially like, okay, we found this new land. Okay, we need as much as we could have. Is that what?
Yeah.
Probably.
Essentially, like settlers go into any place, they steal it from the indigenous people of that land, and then they fight within all the competing settlers to, once they realize the beauty or the value of the land, it just is fight after fight after fight. And it's still happening today. So my particular family is from Yarmouth. Comeau is a huge East Coast name, and it's in Quebec as well, but we're mostly the Nova Scotia Comeaus. And Yarmouth is where my grandparents lived and died. Actually, they're both since passed, but so there's even like a Comeau Hill there. And I have this famous Yarmouth recipes. It's a Blue Nose cookbook, and it's by the Ladies Auxiliary of Yarmouth, so the YMCA out there. And you can get this, if you want to give money to Bezos, you can get this on Amazon, but you can get it at indie bookshops as well. And they have delicious recipes in here. So, yay, Yarmouth. Yay.
These common in this book or in general?
Pardon me?
What eaten in this cuisine?
Oh, what would you eat in this cuisine? So lots of seafood recipes, seafood-based recipes, from pies to soups. There's an East Coast dish called rappy pie. It's delicious. I was going to make that, but I didn't have the time to shred 10 pounds of potatoes. So that's really good. That's like a comfort food with like chicken, or you could use duck and lots of like, I had cream to mine because I'm fancy. And it's a potato kind of pastry. Cover it in molasses. It's delicious. So lots of seafood, lots of comfort, lots of starchy based foods. That's what I think of when I think of my family. The Comeaus, we love a starch.
And seafood. So today we are going to show you. I mean, you are going to show me lobster.
Yay!
Yay! Lobster!
So why I chose lobster is because my grandfather, who passed away a couple of years ago, his entire life, he was a lobster truck driver. So Canada is a huge outsourcing place for lobster around the world, obviously. And he would drive to and fro from Maine to drive lobster. And lobster, I love the movie The Lobster with Colin Firth. It's amazing. It's Carly Heffernan and I got into a big debate about the ending. Highly recommend watching that one. And it's delicious. It's good for you. And it's important to my family. So we are a lobster family.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then let's keep going. Okay, so lobster, I'm not so familiar with it. I have had it maybe 5, 6 times, less than 10 times in my life. So those times, people just like crack for me. Oh, I actually seen how it's cooked. They like go heads in first.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it. I felt like horrified.
Oh yes, it is a horrifying process, but it's worth it in the end. I will say, a lot of my family are lobster, on my dad's side, are lobster fishermen, and so it comes right out of the ocean, and you keep it, and you take it home with you, and you usually cook it alive, which is very cruel, but that's the way it's done. So you cook it, you boil it, and then you take it out. And in the East Coast, when you go to fancy places, you'll get a lot of like butters and lemons and amazing accoutrement on the side. But in the East Coast, what you do is you cover your whole dining room table with the newspaper, and you get hammers and your lobster crackers out, and you just go to town and you just like rip it, and there's just shell and meat and flesh everywhere. Wow. It sounds so traumatic, but it is worth it in the end.
It was the day. So I don't even know how to like remove the meat from it. It's
okay.
You just dig in.
Yeah, I mean you can just straight up use your fingers and like scoop it out. Imagine it's like an avocado, right? You're just kind of taking it, and you take your fingers or a spoon or a knife, and you just go whoop. If this were in my house, it wouldn't even, like a fork wouldn't even make it. I would be face into it. It's like medieval. Yeah, it's like medieval times of the sea. You just
I often talk about like how it is so great to eat with hands instead of using like utensils. Sushi is one of them, like you eat with hand, or Ethiopian food.
Yes.
Indian food,
yeah. It connects your body to what you're eating and makes you appreciate it more, in my opinion.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so what are those, like legs?
What are those legs? So the lobster's shell, if you flip it over for me, if you turn that whole, so you're looking at, that's the tail. And that top part where you can see the white coming out, that would be the part that attaches to the body.
Yes.
If it were a female lobster, I think the eggs would be in there somewhere, and it would be like a lot of green, but Red Lobster cleans that out for you. But yeah, so the shell is kind of like stacked like roofing shingles, if that makes sense, for protection, like that.
Yes. That's this part. So, they are not legs at all. They're part of some. Yeah,
no, the legs themselves are like this, and the lobster body goes down the middle, and you're like down here with the tail. So, what you would do with the legs, there's the big ones, the claws, where you would pick them out or smash them. But for the little legs, my family would just break them off and like suck them right out.
Nice.
I don't know if it's because we're classy or we're trash or both, but that's just how we do it.
That's how you do it. Okay, I removed the meat from the shell.
Awesome.
This is lobster. Lobster. Okay. I'm so like unfamiliar with this. Okay, it's interesting. Now I'm gonna start rolling it in sushi. So tell me more about like different food, different cuisine, and like Cajun culture. They have lots of spicy food, I think. So
they do. So Cajun culture has a bit of Acadian culture in it. They are the same as far as seafood goes. So you'll find a lot of them have seafood-based cultures because they're using what's around them. But Cajun cultures, I'm not from a Cajun culture because it would be usually like around Louisiana. So you're getting there a lot of influences from slaves who were taken from anywhere from the West Indies, all throughout the Caribbean, sometimes Africa, and brought. So the spices were way spicier than the settlers of New France ever used. We're more of a salt people, whereas the Cajuns are like, or like even, do I have any? Yeah. so this is Cajun spice. If you look at the rich redness, and there's chunks of like flowers and herbs in there, and this will add heat when you add it to the top of a dish, like if you add it like the last explosion, or if you want to really get heat, you mix this with cayenne and you let it simmer for hours and hours, and it just opens up to be beautifully hot.
Oh my gosh. Until today, I thought cayenne pepper and Cajun pepper the same thing.
No, look. This one is cayenne. Here we go. My little sticks are falling off. And this one is Cajun. They're both red, but Cajun, I'm not sure exactly what is in there. Some cayenne, I'm sure, but there's other like chunky spices in there and more aromatic things, whereas this is like I'm not a spice monger. I'm so sorry. I don't fully know, but in my personal experience, chunks, aromatic flavor with heat. Yeah. No chunks, just heat.
Yeah, because it's too spicy. Wow. I'm learning so much. I'm learning how much I did not know. I thought Cajun pepper and cayenne pepper same thing. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then so Acadian culture is not so much spicy food, lots of seafood, lots of potatoes.
Yeah, so like things of the earth, like potatoes, parsnips, corn would keep, flour if you got it, lard-based things. Oh, yeah. So my papa was also a hunter, so he would hunt legally, of course, venison, and then that cut up the stag, and it would feed him the whole winter. Or sometimes if you were able, I don't know what the quantities are you're allowed to hunt out east, but if you had two, it would survive like a whole family and that kind of stuff. He would get stuff from the Soviets as well, but he ate off the land so much that he desired to hunt or do agriculture. But yeah, so very much of what you have.
Mm-hmm. And is that very different from like French, like in France?
The French cuisine that I know of is very the people's food would be more akin to what you would find in Acadia, whereas the high-end restaurants would have like lambs and the sauces, like the hollandaise, the rich sauces, all the stuff that would probably give the royalty gout over time. Whereas Acadians today can get whatever we all get, but back in historical times, we're not having such richness, I don't think.
I see. Yeah. Settling in to a new land and exploring what's there.
Yeah.
And adapt.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's really cool. And then tell me about your other side.
Oh, the other side of the family?
Yeah.
So over lockdown, I've been looking at my family genealogy and history, and I'm learning a lot about both my side and Connor's side. He is a fascinating family as well. But it comes from the same as the Acadians, only from England or from Scotland or from Ireland. Rumor has it in my family that my mother's maiden name is McCarrigan. And there aren't many McCarrigans in Ireland. There's some, but in comparison to all the other names, you're like, something's weird, like there's a disconnect here. So rumor has it in my family that when the Irish immigrants came over to Canada, the Irish were hated as a group of people for some time. And in order to make it so that they wouldn't get jobs, they would add Mick to their names so that you would know right away, oh, Irish, or Mac would be Scottish. Right. So you'd be like, you could be prejudiced without ever meeting them. So yeah, McCarrigan is a name born out of racism towards Irish people. That is in my family, so there's a bit of that. But we're not, like, we're so far removed from where we genetically or ancestrally came from We don't have any family living in France or Ireland that we could be like, hey, I'm coming over. I'm going to crash on your couch. Like we kind of, yeah, we're Canadian for 7 generations, but it's odd. Sometimes you'll find things that you do and you're like, oh, what is this? Why do we do Sunday roast? Like, where did that come from? You're like, oh, it's quite English actually, or things like that. So yeah.
Yeah. So things carry on, but like you don't know where it came from, and then found out, oh, it's actually that culture. It's from this culture. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. There's like I guess a story in my husband Nico's side. He's half English as well, and there was like a recipe of fish that like his mother cooks, and then he always had to cut off the tail, even if the plate is big enough. And there was they thought that was the actual recipe, but found out that her mother always did it because her plate was smaller, and she always had to cut the tail.
Cut it. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's just like you thought that was a culture, and it was like a family thing. Or like maybe it's like opposite in your case, like if that was a family thing and it was actually a culture thing. It's like so interesting how things like evolve, I think.
Absolutely. And what sticks, what doesn't. I find it really interesting too. When in the before times when I could travel, I was like, yes, I'm Canadian. But here I don't really like the thought of being Canadian because of what that means. Like 151 or 2 years, and you're like, yeah, but we didn't. Yeah, no. I want to celebrate what my ancestors inevitably did to the Indigenous people of this country. So, or of this land. This is their land. So it's kind of like, it's very complicated and an interesting discovery of identification and belonging, and how you have to recognize your privilege and recognize the past from which you came before you can like correct things or blow things up and change them. So it's been really eye-opening and difficult and beautiful, and it's been really interesting. Already I'm awkward talking about it. My hands are in my pockets, so that's where I'm at with this.
Well, it's important to talk about stuff like that. Then, and I'll ask one thing.
Yeah, sure.
About lobster fishing. I saw like so many things on the news that about exactly what we are talking about. What do you know?
So essentially, in the 1750s, in and amongst all of the settlers coming here to claim this land as their own, there were treaty rights that were given to the Indigenous people of Canada, specifically. I think today there was the Mi'kmaq people, or the Mi'kmaqi, or the East Coast kind of Indigenous people, and they were allowed to live as they always did. And then as the settler culture grew and expanded, Indigenous people were being penalized, and well, we all know the atrocities and the horrific things that white supremacy is still doing to Indigenous people today around the world. But so it came to a head recently about fishing and lobster specifically, because in 1999, the Supreme Court of Canada said that they acknowledged the 1759 treaty rights for Indigenous people to fish. I believe the term moderate livelihood was used. So they were allowed to provide for themselves, their communities, their families, and make a livelihood, regardless of when. Whereas white settlers are given fishing seasons by the Department of Fisheries. This is to the best of my knowledge, so I could be misquoting, and I deeply apologize if that's the case. But white settlers, white fishermen during COVID, during pandemic, where everything is kind of a pressure cooker for everybody, started to brutally attack the Indigenous people. Their fishing houses where they kept the boats, there were reports of verbal and physical abuse on elders. Like, it was pretty bad. So it's all being hopefully highlighted on a spotlight right now on a global stage, because it's like, this is not right. They have treaty rights, like treaty rights, hundreds of years old, saying this is how it is. Oh, sorry, it's hard for you. So now you're going to, now as well as always, you're going to be prejudiced, you're going to be racist, you're going to be horrific to the Mi'kmaq fishermen. Like, come on. It's awful. So I'm really happy that there is a spotlight on it. And the Department of Fisheries is being put under a lot of pressure for it as well. And my great uncles are some of those settler fishermen. So it's been quite a, I don't know their involvement. We're not super close, but it has been, my father and I are watching the news every day, like just praying that we're not seeing some uncle or auntie be the hate that we're trying to undo. And yeah, so hopefully, you know, when the world opens up again, we can go out there and visit our family and chat with them and just have the conversations to promote equity, equality, the treaty rights that Indigenous people have, where it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, it's hard for me, so I'm going to take it out on you instead of looking at myself. Cool, bud. Cool.
Yeah,
All right. How's that for a comedy show on a Monday afternoon?
No, this show is never be like, okay, this is a comedy show. I love to hear like all the stories, people's stories, and thank you so much for sharing this. It can be heavy. Last week we talked about World War II.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you know what? You know, as long as everyone's talking about cultural genocide, I'm okay with it. No.
But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your stories. And yeah, it's a lot to deal with, a lot to think about on my end as well like everybody. Yeah, and how you put it is like that was eye-opening. Like lockdown, pandemic was like a pressure cooker for everybody. That's true. But I think it's a good opportunity, I guess, to have those conversations.
Yeah, and there are ways that you can support Indigenous communities in the East. There are definitely charities that you can give to and donate to for if clashes with RCMP happen again. Or you can only buy Indigenous lobster and put your money where your mouth is, kind of thing. So, you know, the dollar that we all abide by is a very good way to help, whether it's donation or buying goods when you can afford to do so.
Yeah. I'm really like becoming conscious of where to put my money, because it's like my voting right.
Yes, exactly.
Like I cannot vote in Canada because I'm a permanent resident. I'm not a citizen. So I'm very conscious of like where to put as this is my vote. Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. And everyone who's trying their best. Like sometimes you can't. Like sometimes for my budget, I have to use a Walmart or an Amazon. Like, and there's no judgment in that. But it's the small steps that actually like start the revolution as well. So that's important. Also, like back to lobster. I've got a lobster tattoo. Want to see it?
Yes.
All right. Excuse me. So when I was in Scotland, I have to take my pants off. I decided to make my own family crest. No, I'm wearing underwear. Hold on.
Okay.
So
it's a compliment. Thank you. Oh.
This is a blue lobster because they're 1 in 50 million. And this little blue lobster, I like him because he's hard on the outside and soft on the inside, because they mate for life. And also, he has a crow and an anchor. My dad's side has an anchor and my mom's side has a crow on her family crest. So I made my own family crest. And why I like the lobster, Karen Parker also has one, and Nicola Dempsey, they have a lobster as well. We all got them. We have a girlfriend named Rosie Jones. She's an amazing comedian out of England. And she was talking about in her routine dating and how she was sick and tired of people treating her like a snack. She wanted to be treated like the best meal, like the best thing. She wanted to be treated like a lobster thermidor. So this lobster has many, many meanings for me. One, to do better from my past, from where my ancestors came from. Two, be a bit hard, be a bit soft. Three, treat yourself like a lobster thermidor and surround yourself with people who treat you like the best meal. None of these chips and popcorns and candies that'll make you sick. Get people in your life who will treat you the best. So it's a constant reminder for me to do it.
Oh, beautiful.
And
blue lobster.
Yeah. Blue lobster. There are many different colors of lobster. There are red, blue. There's albino lobster that are completely white.
What?
There are yellow. Yeah. They're beautiful. They all taste the same, but they're good. I haven't eaten one. That would be probably
Wow.
really.
Wow. I have no idea. I don't know anything about lobster. More you tell me, more I know that I did not know much about it.
I mean, I did not know I knew this much about lobster. I am, it's the improviser brain being like, oh, you want to know? Here. Wow. Oh my God.
It's great. It's great.
I'm happy.
So now I wrote the sushi and they gave me lemon and melted butter. So I guess what I'm gonna do is put the melted butter on top. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Lots of butter.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's such a decadent. So in Nova Scotia, my uncles grew up eating lobster and were teased because it was considered a poor food because like anybody could get it. Whereas now we're selling it for what? $30 for a baby little lobster tail? Come on. So it's really interesting to see the effects of capitalism on the stuff we consume.
I heard about that too. Yeah. Like it used to be like anyone has it. And now it's a delicacy. It's great.
A delicacy.
So
with the butter.
Yeah. And I put lemon. So this is it. So Ashley, can you introduce or name this roll?
Oh, I know. This is the Ayaka Comeau lobster roll.
Ayaka lobster roll. Yeah. Look at the butter.
Oh,
thank you, Seann.
Seann, so quick on the uptick. I love it. Now,
my.
I have to ask, is lobster big in Japanese cuisine?
I don't know. I don't think I had, maybe once or twice, I had lobster when I was in Japan.
Okay.
And that's probably, was a big deal. Like, okay, let's have a lobster today. It's once in lifetime. Maybe not that much, but like, I think Chinese people have lobster. So I think I have seen like lobster on like a menu in a Chinese restaurant. But it's not that common. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
We have a huge shrimp, prawn. Yeah. Like huge, the size of lobster. That's something like we eat sometimes and like, this is a good meal. It's a expensive meal. Yeah, so maybe we have that. And that goes back to the toast joke, talking about
toast joke.
Big shrimp.
Toast joke. I'm a huge fan of toast, by the way. Please tell Toast I say hi.
I will. Okay, so now I have this little butter that they gave me, and I'm gonna put soy sauce in here.
Whoa.
So I'll like make soy sauce butter dip on top of this.
I'm salivating.
This is probably the most expensive sushi that like I rolled on this show.
I am so sorry.
No, I love it. Okay, Seann, could you put some drum rolls so no one has to hear me chewing? Okay, I'm excited. Thank you, Seann. Okay, いただきます。
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah! I'm dead. I'm dead.
Ayaka Kitchen.
Ayaka Kitchen.
This is so good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get addicted to this. This is so good.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, listen, I have seen lobster in sushi roll before, but not just plain lobster with a butter sauce. I've never seen that.
This is
So-
so good. Wow. I just want to eat the whole thing.
Eat it. Go for it.
No, I have to take a picture first. This is so good. So now I know. Not butter is great. I think soy sauce and butter also makes it really, really good. Soy
Oh my
sauce
gosh.
and butter together, that's kind of like a common taste in Japan. Like we
Okay.
barbecue corn, like a full corn with like soy sauce and butter. Like we do that all the time. It's very Japanese taste. Oh, this is so good.
Yay!
Wow. So lobster is like, I don't know, this is like not soft, not hard. It's like I don't know how to explain
Buoyant.
the texture. Moist, yeah. Yeah.
Or like anga.
Yeah.
Like a mushroom or a
It's a little like gummies.
yes, gummies.
It's so good.
I'm so happy
It's
you
so
like
good.
it.
And you know what? Everybody, actually, Coco is an amazing person. She also made me dessert.
Well,
Yeah.
so my great grandmother used to have a blueberry farm in Yarmouth, and we'd go as kids and fill styrofoam cups with blueberries. So I thought for an East Coast experience, I'm gonna try to make my first ever blueberry pie. So it's blueberry pie.
You know, I always roll every single food that gets introduced in this shop, but today I'm like, no. Coco made me this pie. I have to eat it as a pie. I'm not gonna roll in it in a sushi because it looks so good. There's so many. Look at it. So many blueberries.
6 cups go in a blueberry pie.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I love blueberries.
Good.
If you ever see like bio of me, my bio that's on like Second City shows or anything like that, at the end of the bio it says Ayaka also loves blueberries.
I thought also tomatoes.
Yeah, so it's either blueberries or tomatoes. I
Amazing.
It's
Amazing.
so funny. Okay, itadakimasu.
What does that mean?
Bon appetit.
Oh, bon appetit. Oh, very nice. I just
So good. Your first one.
my first one. I can send you the
Sure.
recipe. It's
Yes, please. Very lemony. Very good.
I did add lots of lemon. Blue Nose Cookbook, yep. The YMCA, the Ladies Auxiliary. I find that very entertaining.
Yeah, so good. Wow. This episode was delicious.
Yes.
Delicious.
I'm glad. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, my DoorDash and Uber Eats gonna be very expensive. I'm gonna add lobster to the list of the places that I'm gonna go.
Oh my gosh.
So good. Thank you so much for introducing me to Acadian culture and cuisine.
No problem.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for being in the show. Thank you for being a great friend.
I love you, Ayaka.
And thank you everyone for watching the show. Here's the donation link again. Let's support bad show, you buy ticket, same thing. And don't forget to subscribe. And thank you, Seann, for doing everything behind the scene and always organizing for me. Did you have knife? Did you have chopsticks? Thank you for being on my checklist. Thank you, Seann. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching again. And Ashi, thank you.
Thank you.
How do you say bye bye in Acadian culture or French or language?
Au revoir. Au revoir.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.